Live from New York City, it's the Gary Null Show. And now, your host, Gary Null.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Null. Another day, another opportunity to learn what we can do to live a longer and healthier life. Now, one of the problems a lot of people have is concerning bone loss. In fact, an awful lot of Americans suffer from osteoporosis. As a result, they risk having a spontaneous fracture because of how porous their bones are, and then ending up dying from an infection from that. It's a very high percentage. But why do we end up with thinning of the bones? Because we're not taking in the right nutrients. And according to Edith Cowan University in Australia, higher vitamin K intake is linked to lower bone fracture risk later in life. Breaking bones can be life-changing events, especially as we age, when hip fractures can become particularly damaging and result in disability and compromised independence and a higher death rate. But research from Edith Cowan University's Nutrition Health Innovation Research Institute has revealed that there may be something you can do to reduce your risk of fractures later in life. In collaboration with the University of Western Australia, the study looked at the relationship between fracture-related hospitalizations and vitamin K1 in about 1,400 older Australian women, and they studied them for a 14-year period. And that's important. It was a good study, and they found that just 1 microgram of vitamin BK1 consumption is equivalent to about 125 grams. That's about 4 ounces of dark leafy vegetables, or 1 serving of vegetables. And there was 31% less likely to have any fracture compared to participants who consumed less than 60 micrograms per day. So what is the takeaway message? It's relatively simple. We're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. Now, the government says that we should have, one second, I'm just saying a light differentiation. The government says that we should have about 3.5 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Okay, I believe that we should have 10 to 12 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. The science is on my side. Special interest is on their side, because people are consuming high quantities of meat and chicken and fish and pork. And as a result, after they eat their refined carbohydrates, the breads and the cereals, refined grains, there's not a lot of appetite left or room for consuming vegetables. And most people simply don't eat enough vegetables. Some children don't even have 1 serving of vegetables per day. And yet it's in those vegetables that we're receiving our antioxidants and fruits, vitamin C and the B complex, zinc, very important for your immune system, selenium, helping to prevent cancers. And we're also not consuming mushrooms. And mushrooms are very medicinal. Almost every mushroom is good for us. Lion's mane, shiitake, reishi, white button, they're all good if they have been lightly cooked. That releases their healing power. We're not getting the essential oils we need to help lubricate our joints and to help our heart and brain function, like raw coconut oil and extra virgin organic olive oil and hemp seed oil, flaxseed oil, almond oil, avocado oil. These are the oils we need. Our heart needs them, and it also helps keep down our inflammatory response in the body. We just don't get the same inflammation. I'll give you one example of this. 2 years ago, I had an anti-aging study, 1 of 5 I've done over the last 3 years. And one of the people who wanted to be in this study was 93 years of age at that time. And she was not allowed by her physician because he was afraid that she had such diminishment of her bone mass that she could sit on an airplane and fracture a hip. He was afraid just in getting there that she would hurt herself. severe osteoporosis. But in any case, she decided she was, she had just turned 94, that what the heck, she was an artist. She needed to get her health back, and she wasn't getting it back staying at home. So she came. And we did impedance tests, which measure, and everyone should have an impedance test. You could get a scale. It's about $40. And you get on the scale, and it tells you your percentage of body fat, protein, muscle, water, very important to know that so you're not dehydrated, and bone mass. And she was really low on bone mass. Well, over a period of 1 month, she gained 5 pounds of bone mass, so much so that she was no longer osteoporosis. She had strong bones, completely remineralized her whole bone structure, and her immune system shot way up through the roof. She was extremely healthy. She had muscle. We filmed all this. In fact, she's in the documentary on the anti-aging challenge, where we challenged people to see, could they really stick to a protocol that could reverse their aging? Now, mind you, we're all getting older chronologically, and most people are accelerating getting older biologically, meaning everything they've consumed in smaller or larger amounts adds up. Nobody dies of lung cancer or emphysema from smoking one cigarette. No one ends up with a diseased liver from one glass of alcohol, nor heart disease from one hamburger. But over 30 to 40 years, yes, it does. It all adds up. And then one day you end up tipping, the body can no longer defend itself, and you end up having a disease. Osteoporosis is because we haven't been taking in the minerals. And you want that vitamin K1 and K2. You want magnesium and manganese. You want silica and calcium. You want all the things that make our bones come together in a healthy way. So I suggest increasing your servings of microgreens. Spinach, kale, broccoli, cabbage. Those are all good for you. You've heard me mention many times quercetin, Querceitin. It's what you get when you eat, let's say, an apple, or when you have an onion. And that's why I said that a half an onion a day keeps a stroke away, because it thins the blood, kills a lot of viruses and bacteria, is really good for you, lowers your blood pressure. Apples do the same. Well, now, Southern Medical Institute in China has found that quercetin offers natural protection against influenza virus, a potent flavonoid and phytonutrient found in many healthy foods. And so that's what they found. Quercetin actually blocks the flu virus from entering cells, which the virus needs to do in order to live and replicate. The team conducted this study by adding quercetin to cells prior to infecting them with influenza, and found that the quercetin-treated cells had significantly lower rates of infection than the cells that had not been treated. So, quercetin has been found to be effective against influenza A, as well as its subtypes H1N1 and H3N1. It was also found to work against H5N1, or avian flu, a particularly dangerous subtype with a 60% death rate. Researchers characterize quercetin as having the potential to be a safe, effective, and affordable treatment for influenza. Now, you won't hear anything about it because there's no money to be made in eating apples and taking a supplement. How much do I suggest? Well, when you're in flu season and you really want to be healthy, I suggest 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams a day, taken with vitamin C. The two work synergistically together. So quercetin blocks the H protein, and along with it, virus entry. The findings show that quercetin was effective when added during the process of virus infection rather than post-virus infection. In other words, quercetin stopped the influenza virus in its tracks near the beginning of infection process, which consists of attachment, entry, replication, and release. Also encouraging is the fact that virus is not able to develop resistance to quercetin. In fact, quercetin was used with antiviral drugs. It prevented the development of resistance that otherwise would occur. Important information. One nutrient that vegans really need in the whole population could use more of: vitamin B12. Why? Because according to Wayne State University, B12 deficiency is a common health problem that can have serious consequences. B12 deficiency is a common health problem that affects 6% to 20% of the American population. B12 is scarce in the diet and is found only in foods from animal sources. Fortunately, humans need only 2.4 micrograms of B12 daily, which is equivalent to 1/10,000,000th of an ounce, a very, very small amount. Without adequate B12 in the body, overall health and quality of life are negated, and signs and symptoms occur. One primary symptom of B12 deficiency is fatigue at a level of tiredness or exhaustion so deep that it affects daily life activities. So just make sure you're getting your B12 every day. It's inexpensive. You can get a sublingual B12, and I suggest 500 micrograms to 1 milligram daily. And by the way, the Medical University of Sicilia in Portland and Ruskin University in the United Kingdom found that there's real benefits to walking in winter wonderland. Yeah, research has shown for the first time that spending time in snowy surroundings can improve how you feel about your body. Previous studies have found that green spaces and blue spaces, such as parks and forests and the ocean and lakes, can improve body image. Now, research published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health has discovered that white spaces, in this case a snow-covered woodland, can have similar beneficial effects. So take that walk in the winter wonderland. You'll feel better. About 40 minutes is necessary to get the full impact in a positive way. And finally, from Beth Israel Medical Center, diet can lower the risk of cardiovascular disease by 10%. In a new study, researchers at Beth Israel Medical Center compared the effects of 3 eating patterns on patients' risk of experiencing cardiovascular events within the next 10 years. The dietary approach to stop hypertension diet, a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, and the Western diet that is typically low in fruits and vegetables while high in fat and sodium. The team's findings suggest that while the DASH diet, fruits and vegetables diet, each reduced risk scores by about 10% over an 8-week period, the DASH diet conferred additional benefits for women and Black adults compared to the Western diet. The results are published in the current issue of the American Journal of Cardiology. Quote, "Our study suggests that the benefits associated with these diets may vary by sex and race. And while a diet rich in fruits and vegetables produce reactions and reductions in risk for women and Black participants, the effects of this diet was twice as large in women and 400% larger in Black adults." So, if you're an African American, if you're a woman, increase the fruits and vegetables in your diet, decrease or eliminate, ideally, animal proteins, including dairy and all meats. That's the latest on health and healing. And remember, you can also get something very important every day. The Gary Null newsletter goes right to your computer, and all the things I discuss on health and healing are right there for you. And if you want even more, we have hundreds of reports on health and healing, all from PubMed, all from the National Library of Medicine, all peer-reviewed from respected institutions. For example, tomorrow, the next day, you'll read about King's College London. Researchers explain how lipids, the fats in our diet, control our immune response. But it goes into detail about your genes and regulating your genes based upon the kind of fat you have in the diet. And those genes can regulate positive or regulate negative, which means you can have a good immune system or a bad immune system just based upon the fats in the diet. How would you know that? Where would you learn that? Well, it's published in Nature Communications, a major research paper, and it talks about controlling macrophages, the lipids do. And these are cells of the innate immune system that which you're born with that patrol the body to ingest and destroy microbes and toxic chemicals and viruses and bacteria. And it's done through a process called phagocytosis. They can also help coordinate a wider immune response by sending signals to other immune cells. Well, the researchers identified a direct link between macrophages and lipid molecule pathway. Hence, the kind and quality of fat that you take in can directly impact your immune system, which can directly impact your body's ability to seek out and destroy pathogens in your body 24/7, even if you're not aware of it. But now, because you're going to read that in the newsletter, you will be aware of it. And it goes into depth, talking about your immune system to have a stronger, more vital immune response. Don't we all need that at this time? You bet we do. So just go to GaryandAll.com and scroll down to newsletter. That shows you how to get it. It's free. Or you can go to PRN.Live and it'll guide you there as well. Go to GaryandAll.com. I'm posting a lot of articles. And if you didn't read my latest article about how our society is just degenerating and we're losing so much of what we all work so hard to gain, a better understanding of human nature, how to cooperate, how to conciliate our thoughts, work with each other, not looking at the color of a person's skin or ethnicity or how much money they have in the bank or what degree they have, but look at them as a sentient, sacred human being. And on that level, we have far more in common than we have in opposition. Therefore, we should be looking at each other with joy and happiness. Friend, what can I learn from you? What would you like to learn from me? And think of the world if we took that approach. Well, that's the approach I've taken my whole life. And that's how a lot of people come together. So read that article or go to the archives and listen to the program from yesterday. We're going to take a break and come right back because now we have the rest of our program. Now, I'm video streaming this because a lot of people want to see whoever is giving them information. And fine, you see me here in my Florida home. This is my study. Behind me, you see up on the wall, back there, you see Sweetie, my blue and gold rescued macaw. I rescued her 22 years ago. And normally during my show, she sits here on my shoulder very quietly, just grooming herself. And you'll see some of the plaques back there. There's just a small number of them. But it's, we have a lot of documentaries. I'm producing 2 now. I look to return to New York City the week of February the 1st to do a fundraiser by premiering not 1, but 2 new documentaries that I'm not going to discuss now for our sister station WBAI, and also premiering for my audience out Long Island, Huntington Arts Cinema. More on that as we go. But I'm wrapping up these 2 documentaries. One's very upbeat, the other's very serious. But they all help us better identify choices we should make in life. Back in a moment. Please stay with us.
Are you tired of closed-minded programming? Well, look no further than PRN.Live, the home for progressive voices.